Now, in concluding this, when the slave traders and the black traders of Africa, traitors, different, traitors, when the slave traders and the traitors of Africa called themselves Muslims, were fighting each other and carrying on and weakening their people over there so that the white traders come in there and get us, take us on slave ships and bring us here. Now, all right? Yeah. So now, when all that happened, what you think was happening to our human soul? Let me tell you, God has given me an eye to see into the very abstract form of the human being by my study of the Quran. Yes. Now, I'm going to tell you what was happening. I know, as if I was there. The soul of those victims had given up on this world. They knew they were going to their death. They knew they were going to circumstances that were going to finish them off. They would never have their lives again. They knew that. But in their soul, they were saying, our children will one day be free again, and they will serve God. We have failed, but our children will one day serve God. And now their prayer that they prayed in the deep recesses of their soul has come true. And not only of the descendants of the black people of Africa, from Islam, coming to Islam, taking up the divine cause, but those who never were Muslims, their children from Christianity, their children from Judaism, their children from paganism, are embracing Islam in America. And we are going to build new Africa. New Africa, right here in the United States. Allahu Akbar. And the soul of those suffering victims, they're rejoicing because of us here today.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to The Power of Educating Our Own. This is a broadcast hosted by the Clara Mohammed Schools Network. We are a network of approximately 20 schools across the country and in Bermuda. Those schools are full-time, weekend, which we dub Strong In Schools, and virtual online schools. And so we welcome you back to this podcast where we talk all things education and uplifting topics that will strengthen us for our institution of education, but also us individually in our professional roles for what will impact our children, right, and our community in that regard. I am Marsha Nivens Muhammad, and I'm with my co-host.
And welcome. And I am Quran Shakir, hailing from Atlanta, Georgia. Very excited about this subject that we're having today. Very excited. So welcome.
Welcome. I'm going to let Dr. Patricia do a do-over because we couldn't hear you. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Dr. Patricia.
Okay, I'm Patricia Salahuddin, and I'm from Miami, Florida. Welcome, everyone. We're excited to have you here, and we pray that you enjoy what we're going to enjoy. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes. And so we have been with our series, Where Are the Young People, right? Like that is a hot topic in our community. And so we thought it would be befitting to create a series out of it, right? And really have the conversation and talk about it from the lens of the fact that there are some young people that are doing some great things in our community and they were cultivated. And we also have the cultivators, right, in our community that we can still speak to talk about what that process was like and perhaps garner from that some ideas and some techniques and some strategies for instituting that today so that we have sustainability into the future. And so tonight we have two of our younger imams in our community, Imam Mikhail Sabri and Imam Ibn Tamir Mutakabir. And we're not even going to waste any time. We're going to bring both of them on and we'll start the conversation. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam. Alhamdulillah.
Oh, Imam Mikhail, we got you on mute, so we didn't hear
What?
anything you
Oh, there
just
you go.
said. There you go.
Yeah, wow.
So it's good to have the both of you on. As I said, we've been having this conversation about where are the young people. Have you all heard that have you all heard that question in our community?
Oh, we hear that all the time.
Yes. Yeah. So
Yes.
with hearing that question, what's generally the response, and how do you even feel about that question being a younger imam in this community?
Well, to answer that question, it's there's a gap, right, in communication. I pretty much take data of who we have participating in the masjid, and the question of where are the young people, it's when we get that question, the answer is that we know where they are. We just want to see them more often, right? So we have young people, and we're talking young people between the ages of I'll say 18 and 35, right? That's the targeted gap. Whenever you have a program at the masjid, usually it's going to be the children 18 and under who came with their parents, right? And then there's a gap between 18 and about 35, mid to late 30s that are coming back around to the masjid. So where are they? Where's that gap? Well, for one, we know, right? If they go off to college, there's going to be a 4 or 5 year time period where you don't see them as much as the masjid, especially if they go to college in a town that is away from where they grew up, right? So if someone's looking for where my son is, he's off in college, and then when they get out, we want to make sure that they find a home. Sometimes their careers can take them away from the town they grew up in, but we have a national network, right? I think I won't say I know, in every major city in America, there's one of our masajid, right? So we talk about, you could just think about it, right? Miami, you go to Atlanta, Jackson, Mississippi, just think about all the major cities in the country. Our community is there. We want to make sure that we communicate with our young people that they should be locking in, become participants in their masjid. And that's why I encourage my son. He's in college, and he goes to the masjid. He'll go to the masjid and not just go to Jummah. And, it's pretty much what I did, right? Call the imam, let him know your son is in town. And if you need anything, here's his phone number, or you can call me and I'll tell him to make sure he lends his participation to the masjid.
I think that's great. Imam Mikhail, when you hear that question, where are the young people? What goes through your mind?
I share similar sentiments as Imam Ibn. I'm a little bit, I don't want to say behind in terms of having children in college. I have a 3-year-old, so I'm a long way away from that. But many of our youth that transition from our school, our strong end school, I love that language. Mm-hmm. They transition to some of the larger cities, like you mentioned, Atlanta, at the Atlanta Masjid of Al-Islam, Masjid Wardeen out in Oakland, California. So many of our young adults, per se, have transitioned to the bigger cities. When I hear that, I mostly see that amongst the airways, as I'm sure you all do, like on social media. That's something that we see quite often. From what I've seen, a lot of times individuals that are not within the association, as far as following the leadership of Imam Muhammad. So and this is just my perspective that I'm sharing, a lot of times individuals look for things to be wrong, and and things are looked at and they're magnified bigger than what they really truly may actually be. And it reminds me of an experience during my time in my first job at a grocery store. Someone, as they walked through, they said, "I'm going to let you know you're doing a good job." And the reason that I'm telling you this is because, everybody makes a lot of noise when they think something appears to be going wrong. Everybody want to want to say, "Hey, this is a big problem." But when things are actually going well or going right, no one actually speaks about that. And I think just what you all are doing tonight and what you're continuing to do, I think it's putting light on the fact that, hey, there are not only younger imams, but there are individuals behind us that are willing and ready to step up after us as well, because we know, Allah willing, it's going to be a time where hopefully, at least I know I want to be able to sit in the audience and listen to somebody else and say Takbir. So, but those are some of the thoughts that I think of when I hear individuals making statements such as, where are the young people?
Imam Ibn, I love what you said about how you call the imam and notify them that your child is on the way and coming to that town. And I often will tell people about when I was a young person going off to college, and I went to college in Dallas, Texas. And that community came to the college and said, they went to each dorm and said, if you have any Muslim children in your community, in your school, let me know. And we came downstairs to see who's asking for us. And they came to let us know, we're here to support you. Welcome to our town. And they would come and pick us up for Juma and take us to Juma. When my daughter went off to school and she went off to the Boston area, I did what you did, Brother Imam, and called the community, the people that I knew in that area, let them know that she was there. And they would come and pick her up for the Eid, for Juma, and all of that. So I do think that that's so important for us as a community to really look at how are we embracing our youth when they leave their homes, and making sure they're in a new home and that they understand that they're in a new home. And so that's a part of why we're here today, is just to encourage our community to continue to groom and support and nurture our young people. So I just wanted to tap off of what you've already said. Thank you so much for that comment.
Absolutely. And then, I was thinking about what you all, both of you share, right? I was thinking about, the Masjid Muhammad in DC is very familiar with my baby too, right? So, and they even, gave her, she had an opportunity to do some work for the masjid and be paid while she is in school. And so those are some invaluable things when you think about, the scariness, right, of your child being somewhere else, and will they have connections to the same foundation that you've laid for them? So I'm so glad that was mentioned, and I'm encouraging others to do the same. So I want to take a step back for a second, and I want to talk about how you all got here, right? You're younger imams, and so clearly there was some grooming of you as a young person, or while you were in that younger phase, right, to get all of what you have to get you to where you are now. So tell us a little bit about how that happened for you.
Well,
Either one. You want to go? All right, Imam.
Well, I was elected into my position after our late Imam Khalil Akbar passed away. It's almost a year since he passed, so over a year actually. So and that was a process. It wasn't automatic. And but before that, I started out about 15 years ago as one of his associate imams. And that took a leap, right? You don't just get asked to come and help the imam, but through participation in the masjid and getting to where I learned from the imam, and he has that confidence, then you pretty much get pushed onto the minbar. Say, you're doing Juma tomorrow, and you're like, what was that, imam? You said, and next thing you know, you're doing the Juma, and now you're in the rotation. So you become known to the community as the young associate imam or assistant to the imam over those years. And it wasn't, all full on participation. Imam Khalil protected me from too much, overwhelming tasks, and my duties just increased over time, by which the masjid community trusted to vote me in as the new imam when the time came.
So my experience, and I start when I was younger. I guess my father may have knew something that I didn't know, but I remember when I was in elementary school, he used to say, I remember one time he told me, I don't know how many times he told me, but I remember this one time, and he said, "You're going to be an imam one day." And I said, "No, I'm not." So, and if we say that to most young people, like in elementary age, that's probably what they're going to say, because they just don't have the understanding of what all that entails, or they may see the amount of responsibility that may come with that. But with my experience, I saw a need, not in terms of me stepping up in a leadership role, but in terms of needing the masajid in this particular local area, needing the support of younger people, needing new ideas. And before I had an opportunity to actually, even get to the point of doing a ta'aleem or delivering a khutbah, I was actually in Birmingham. That's where I got my first job, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker by profession. And Imam Kareem Abdullah in Birmingham, he actually allowed me to start engaging in certain things as far as in a leadership role. Because when I was in Montgomery, at least by the time I reached a particular age, I had transitioned to Birmingham. So I had gotten some engagement there as far as, that just kind of being some stepping stone to, I guess you could say, building confidence. And eventually, a year and a half, 2 years later, I transitioned back to Montgomery, where I was still just focusing more so in a role in which I was functioning more so in a role of like a youth coordinator. So because I knew that the young people in our community, elementary, middle school, high school, they needed someone that was close to them in age to look up to. So we would get together on the week on Sundays, have class. Sometimes those classes would look like, hey, we just ordering some pizza, we hanging out, we talking about some of the things you may be dealing with as far as your peers, as far as building relationships. And then as time went on, in 2018, a brother by the name of Adib Shakir, he lived in the Atlanta area some, may Allah have mercy on him. He played a huge role with assisting our community with making the progress we've been able to make thus far. But he was talking with my father, and they decided to present it to the community as far as voting me in for the assistant imam. That was in 2018. So in 2018, I was voted in as the assistant imam. And then in 2023, my father, he ended up having a stroke. And with that health condition, it put him in a situation where he couldn't function in the same capacity. So the community decided to vote me in as a resident imam, which I've been functioning in that role since 2023. So that's the short version, even though that may have seemed a little bit lengthy.
Brother Imams, both of you, I wanted to go back to that community part, because it seems to me that we may, in our communities, we may be saying, where are the young people? Um, and if we really are paying attention, the answer to that question would be, they're here. They're here. So where are you? What are you doing to make your space or our space comfortable for them, or what are you doing to go and get them? Like, I like that idea of going to the campus and reaching out to the people, or going to the family that you know that your child is there, and reaching out, or making what is the community doing to reach out, to make that step toward those young people who are there. What are we doing to help them to be comfortable in this space that we have?
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Well, with our Strong in School, we've implemented a couple of extra programs involved with it. One is we created a group called Youth Connections, and that is a mentoring workshop along with a activity like a field trip. So the young people have to come to the mentoring session first in order to go on the field trip. So alhamdulillah, it's during the school year, and we just started our September. We go from September to June, and so the first session was the first field trip was yesterday, and we had the young people come to the masjid for their mentoring session, and then not something too much. After that they went to the mall, and they enjoyed an escape room, and got to walk around the mall as being young Muslims in the mall, because that's something that we want them to get used to, is being comfortable being Muslim and out together out in public, where they can feel comfortable in that space. So that's one thing we do. And the other thing is that we have the Strong in School. We also implemented adult classes into the Strong in School. So before it was parents dropping their kids off, and it's like, no, you come to class too. So everybody's coming to class. We got parents that come bring their children, and then they sit in class as well. So everybody's in class where everybody's learning, and so we are keeping that together. So that has helped. That has helped because it increases the participation. If the parents got to be in class, then everybody is more likely to be on time for the classes, and everybody's actively participating. And we have we're more hands-on with the families. Yeah, so that's one of the strategies, I say, and I think it's working. I think it's working well, and there's we have where we try to keep activities going at the masjid, encouraging life at the masjid, and I tell my people, my workers, if y'all tired, let me know, because we're gonna have another program next month, and we moving. We're not gonna be stagnant. So alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, that's an excellent formula that you have. We've things similar before, as far as with the classes. Sometimes it's order pizza, allowing the young to be able to make those connections that we hope that'll be lifelong connections, even if distance for whatever reason may find themselves separating them. We've done in the past, like because I had a certain amount of trust with parents, but like sleepovers. That way they can have an opportunity to just kind of hang out, play video games, whatever it is that they may want to do. That's halal, of course. We've even done sleepovers in the masjid before as well, like with the youth. So like a youth retreat, but it's at the masjid. We've done some outings such as like bowling in the past as well. playing basketball, things that I think it's important for the masses to be youth friendly. So, and this is how we keep them engaged. And this is how we assist them with having an attachment to our community, right? And I'm thinking about some of the things that's been shared. Yes, we want them to have an attachment to the masses, but we want them to have an attachment to the community. So as it was mentioned, if they go to, another city, hey, the attachment is there. It's not just to the masjid within itself, but it's to the community as a whole. So, but those are just some of the things that we've done in the past as well.
Those are great reminders. And I'm gonna just remind our listening audience that you are listening to The Power of Educating Our Own. And our subject today is, where are the young people? And we are pleased and excited to have with us two imams who became imams as they were groomed in their youth for this leadership. We invite you to drop a note to us in the comments section to let us know where you're listening from. If you have any questions for us, we welcome them. And to our two imams, when we opened with a clip of Imam Muhammad talking, and I love that clip because it is like the prayer of the ancestors is in our youth and in our young, and we have to help them to see that. So I love what you said, Brother Imam Mikhail, when you talk about the youth being connected to a community, our community, to understand our history, to understand our vision and our journey and where we're going, as well as their place in it. I love that. And I think that's what happened to you. That's why you're here today, because someone placed in you a love of our community and our history and the vision, and for you to see your place in that. So I'm curious to know, in your journey, in that experience, when they were grooming you for this leadership that you now have as a part of our community, how did you feel stepping into the leadership while still young? Was that excitement? Was that fear? Did you feel prepared? And then what are the things you wished had happened for you that you now make sure are happening for the young coming behind you?
Excellent questions. So as far as my personal experience, I didn't experience any fear. For myself, it was like I knew that there was a need, and I just functioned in that need. Wherever the community felt that I was needed, I played that particular role. And I'm still striving to play that particular role to this particular day. And I think in all things, as we all strive to do, is we lean on Allah to support us. Even if we find ourselves experiencing any type of anxiety that may try to come up on us, similar to Musa alayhi salam, we remember that Allah, highly glorified as He, is in control of all things. And once we remember that, Allah, highly glorified as He, will help us with whatever anxieties we may find ourselves feeling. But as far as fear, I believe I felt so much excitement that even any thought or ounce of fear just kind of goes out of the window when we realize the mission that we have at hand and the importance of the mission that we have at hand. As far as your second question, as far as what I feel like could have been possibly done better, and I don't think this was anything that was intentionally done, because I had exposure I would say directly and indirectly. Growing up, I recall my father, he used to listen to, we know we going back now, we talking about tapes. He used to listen to Imam Muhammad tapes all the time. He used to drop me off at school in the morning to hear Imam Muhammad, right? And I didn't quite understand or realize the great, how important he was at that particular time. I recall going to a convention. I may have been in elementary school or just reaching middle school. I can't recall. But I remember my father just wanted me to have an opportunity to shake his hand. And we're just sitting there waiting. A lot of people come to Imam Muhammad want to meet with him, but we just waiting around for a long time. So the only thing I can think, just looking back, I can't recall what I was thinking at the time. well, this must be a very important person. So, so in my experience, and I think others may have experiences in other places throughout the country as well, but I believe more emphasis as far as in a structured environment, as far as the masajid, the strong end schools. I think more emphasis needs to be placed regarding our unique experience here in America, right? So I don't think we should leave out our experience from the Nation of Islam. When I taught when I teach my students, I teach them about that particular history. I don't just leave that part out. So I don't go to, from Muhammad the Prophet, upon him be the prayers and the peace, and then Abu Bakr, and so on and so forth, and just skip past our history to where we're at now. I have to make sure they understand our unique experience in America as well. So I think regarding the children that are coming up now, the youth that are coming up now, I think it's going to be vital for them to understand that particular history, because I found myself having to go back. So and grab that history. And I was fortunate enough to have a father who was in the Nation of Islam and transitioned with Imam Muhammad Rahimullah in 1975 to actually get that history from him and to get some understanding from him. And not everyone has that resource in our community. So the masjid and the leadership, male and female, have to be that resource for our young generations.
And so, I'm thinking about the question, right, a little deeper, and I'm like, what else can we sort of talk about to get some insight from you? And earlier we talked a little bit about those college age students, right? Those young people who, they're with us and then they're not with us, and they're going to finish school, right? And they're going to either come back home or, like you said, even like be in another community if that's where their job takes them. So, what do you see as some ways to get those young people engaged or re-engaged after coming home? Because one of the things that I've
Yeah.
It looks like she got frozen.
Okay.
So if you want to try to answer just a little bit that she gave, you can.
Okay. Yeah, one important thing for that question is to make sure that our young people are grounded in the foundation of the religion. Because oftentimes we bring them in to participate at the masjid, and for my children, I quiz them. Oftentimes you gotta do dawah to your own children, make sure that they're understanding and that the information, the knowledge is being passed to them, because when they become adults and they're on their own, they're going to have to float on their own in being independent, thinking Muslims.
Yeah.
So if they have any doubt or wavering in their foundation in the religion, that's when they have a weak iman and they get out on their own, and we can see that happen. And this is not something new. I'm sure that many of the pioneers, for each one of the pioneers that you see, you can ask them, who were their friends that was in the Nation of Islam with them that may have left the religion altogether and didn't transition. So us young people have the same experience. We have people that we grew up with that that either left the deen or they left practicing the deen. We don't know what their situation is, but I think the most important thing there is to make sure and be diligent in making sure that our young people are educated properly in the religion. They have a self-awareness of who they are, and it strengthens them when they go on and become adults to attend the masjid, to maintain their salah, fast in Ramadan, and not get swayed. That's really the most essential thing. Just
I know. I love what you said about grounding them in the religion too. And when you were talking, one thing that came to my mind is something Imam Qasim said when we were crying about the number of young people who were so influenced by what they saw in the world. He said, we can anticipate casualties of war, but consider ourselves in a battle to save our children. And, get in that battle, but don't be so disappointed when they may journey off. The other thing that came to my mind was, because I'm an educator and I work in our schools, I remember once one of the young students said to us, he said, when we're out in the streets, when we're out in the world, we get a lot of exposure to a lot of things, but we don't hear the counter of that coming from you all. And sometimes we may think we have to not be hush hush and not talk about it so they won't engage. But he was saying to us, no, we get so much exposure. We need for you to come vigilant with us to really help us to understand how we should even argue this in our souls and in our minds. So what you were saying made me think about that. Our responsibility then to truly engage them and not just have them present, but in that presence, we're talking to them and feeding them how we want them to think, how we want them to rationalize what's going on in their world and in their thinking and, the experiences that they're having. Marsha, I don't know if you wanted to finish your question.
I think it was answered. I could hear you on the other end. It's just, I lost connection on the device I was on, but it was really centered around like how to re-engage those young people when they come back, because it's often been said that when they come back to the masjid or they come back home, there's no place for them, right? And so the question was pretty much centered around like, what to do to make that less of a circumstance where they come home and there's nothing for them to do, which we know there's tons of things to do, but perhaps the space doesn't feel welcoming enough for them to do something. So I heard most of what Imam Ibn Tamir had given. So yeah, if you wanted to add something, great. But there's something that you actually said, Sister Khan, that was so poignant for me, is that you said something about like not being disappointed when when it doesn't necessarily look the way that we want it to look, and that that we sometimes do that with our young people, right? We kind of put this big pressure on them to be a certain way when they're trying to navigate too, because the reality is that yes, they're Muslim and we've trained them up with all of this goodness, and they also have an experience in the world, and that can be tough for them to navigate and to figure out what to hold on to, because some things are attractive to them, right? Yeah. And if you wanted to sort of give commentary on that, that would be helpful, right? Because we do have to be real about the fact that there are some things that attract our young people. We are putting them in environments where they're seeing both sides, and that navigation can be tough. So can you just speak to that, both of you?
Well, go ahead, Imam.
So as far as like you mentioned, when it comes to the world, we can't shelter them forever. Right? But as Imam Ibn mentioned, I think the foundation is going to be critical, right? And with having a strong or assisting our young with establishing a strong foundation. There are going to be some that they have to go through their own experience, and Allah willing, they'll come back around like a boomerang after they touch that iron and realize, it's hot. It is hot.
It really is hot.
Sometimes they've had to touch it 3, 4, 5 times.
Right.
That's what that situation is. What is going to be our response? Are we going to welcome them with mercy? Or are we going to look at them with a sense of disdain? Right? The reaction that we choose to have towards our young, who for whatever reason may go out in the world and come back, is going to play. I think it plays a huge role in them feeling accepted. So I think we have to overlook, as Allah instructs us to do in the Quran, overlook the faults of our brother, overlook the fault of our fellow sister. In terms of, I want to make sure I'm capturing the rest of what you asked. In terms of the participation side of things, I think it's important for those that are in leadership roles to make sure the young are being represented at the table, to make sure they feel like they do have a voice. I think it's important from the moment our children are born all the way until they reach, their young adulthood years, and of course ongoing after that, but especially during that critical period. Not only do we as parents have to let our children know their value in the community, but as the old saying goes, it takes a community to raise a village. Right? You have to let somebody else's son, let somebody else's daughter know that, hey, we need you. We have to let them know that, hey, you're valued here, we need you here, we want you here. And then those words have to be followed through actions, such as invite them to the table, seeing what they see in the community. So they may look like, once a month, having some type of round table where the youth can talk about ideas that they want to happen at the masjid with a representative from leadership just being present to provide some level of guidance, so that information can be brought back to whatever governing bodies that may exist in that local community. But those are some initial thoughts that come to my mind regarding the question that you posed.
I love that, Imam Ibn. Before you answer, I just want to use that, bounce off of what you just said, and make it a homework assignment for all listeners, every masjid, every school. Right now, this is the homework. We are going to reach out to between 1 and 10 of our young people and say, we need you. Just tell them that we need you. I love just that phrase, just for them to hear it. We need you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Imam Ibn.
Yeah, so we definitely do need them, and the essential part is to make sure that they know that this is home base, and also remind them that we were once their age. A person like me, mid-40s, I remember my 20s like it was yesterday. Sometimes I wish I could return there, but letting them know that what it feels like, to be, dropped off at a college, or to be, the only Muslim in your classroom in high school, or those type of emotions, and double down on what it means to embrace being different, and not try to blend in. Know that you're different. Know that you belong to a community of Muslims, and be proud of that identity. And so we remind our young people of that, and keep reminding them, and tell them that we do need them. So I tell the young people all the time, who do you think is going to maintain this masjid in 10 years? A 15-year-old in 10 years. You think about 10 years from now, you're going to be 25, inshallah. Who you think is going to be taking care of keeping these lights on, and maintaining salat at the masjid, and keeping up with like the little details of things. Like we have Tylene, somebody has to set up the chairs. We have events at the masjid. Somebody has to, be in the kitchen and prepare the food and serve the food. Like remind the youth that they should be looking around to see, oh, I can help in this aspect. And not only in the future might I be helping, I may be in charge of that for the masjid, right? And I also tell the young people that whatever you do in worship, whatever you do, attach your worship to it. You have a dream of a career. What are you going to do for the ummah with that career? What are you going to do for your masjid with that career? And tie everything in, because that's important. That's what you know I thought of at that young age and was told at that age myself. So the things that worked, we bring them back and reuse what worked. So the youth activities worked, the reminding them of their identity, uh, those things worked, and we can keep reminding them and reminding them that we need them too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really am happy to hear you guys talk about how it is important to provide for this young people and to do things in the community for the young people. Um,
Mhm.
what are some of the things that you would suggest to other communities? Now, you know what you do, but suggest to other communities of things that they could do for the young people. And we include both ages. We're talking about the younger people. I love what you said about you're doing for your young people. I'm going to borrow
Mhm.
some of those ideas for our young people in our Islamic studies classes. But there's also that 20-year-old, that 19-year-old that's or the 17 or 18-year-old that's going off to college, that goes to maybe going to college in your hometown, or the 20-year-old, and sometimes the 25 to 28-year-old. What do you do about those? What can you do? What suggestions do you have for the communities to help them?
Well, for one, I would say to identify those young people in that age group. So one thing I've done is I started to develop a list, like so keep a database. Walk up to the young brother that's 23, 24. Well, what's your name? Uh, Write down your phone number for me, and I keep it on a list. And then we actually do a call tree. Got a team of brothers, about 5 or 6 of us. We'll sit down on a Thursday night and call everybody on the list. It'd be a list of young brothers and even new Muslims, new shahadas, and actually call them up, get them on the phone, and remind them, hey, brother, we need you at the masjid. We're going to have this program or that program. Come on out. We have a singles event for those looking to get married, right? We remind them of those activities and keep the activities coming, and make sure that the young people are in the loop with what's going on. Because a lot of times, one of my favorite things to say, right, is the phone works both ways. So we'll be like, I hadn't heard from that 25-year-old. I hadn't heard from brother so and so. Man, where has he been? Call him, see how he's doing. I called a young person and found out that his car broke down and he had to take 3 buses to get to the masjid, and we was able to coordinate getting the brother a ride. That's where he been. He wasn't able to get to the masjid. So just keep diligent on maintaining communication with the young people. And I think we got to get out of our shell of the methods of communication. Um, you know, don't be afraid to get that Instagram profile. You might not have their phone number, but you can find them on Instagram, right? You can find them on the Facebook and just reach out, let them know you here. Some of them are shocked. Like I might you know, instant message. Yeah, I might instant
say, Imam, you popping in the DMs?
Right. Yeah, I'll pop in a brother's DM like Assalamu alaikum. And they'd be shocked, like, oh, the Imam DM me. Yeah. Hadn't seen you at the masjid. You know, and they appreciate that because I do that. And then next thing you know, I start seeing more at the masjid. They start participating more because they know that you noticed they weren't there. They notice that you appreciate their presence. So takes a little elbow grease, I say, little thoughtful, purposeful action. But that's a tip to keep the young people participating and also have activities for them, like for their age group, right? We have we call it the Marriage Connection Committee, right? And we have events and programs for the single Muslims, and we invite them out, call them out, and see if they participate in those programs. And we just keep open communication with them, and keep participating in the social media circle because that's where they are, right? They're there, and then if you don't have them in that social setting, you got to reach out to them, find out what their communication, like phone number. I don't even know if the young people answer emails anymore, but phone number or Instagram and social media profile. Yeah.
Excellent. So we do something similar as far as what Imam Ibn shared. Whenever we have young individuals come and visit the community, we try to go ahead and hop on them right away as far as getting their name, their contact info. That way we can try to develop a relationship with them. That way we can try to keep some level of engagement. And one word comes to mind when I shared when I heard what Imam Ibn shared, which was powerful, and I'm sure it's something we all strive to do or should be striving to do, but it's being vulnerable. So, or letting that guard down. When individuals visit the masjid, it should be a place where it shouldn't have to feel guarded, right? And I believe every masajid needs a group of people, as Imam Ibn shared. We have some pinpoint people ourselves that are responsible for being able to identify, hey, those new faces. So whether they be young or elderly, but I know we focus on the young right now. But just identifying those new faces, getting their contact information, and just trying to get to know them, to establish a healthy relationship with them, so the engagement can continue. If I heard another part of the sister's question regarding when they go to other cities, was that a part of your question too? Okay, so two examples that I can think of are, one, we have a brother by the name of Kazim Tajuddin. Sister Fran may be familiar with, but he evolved from Montgomery, Alabama, and I know if I recall correctly, prior to his transition, or at least on one Friday for Juma, I had a chance to go there and allow him to be able to be with Imam Suleiman, to have an opportunity to just be familiar with him. With another brother, which is actually Kazim's brother, he moved to Oakland, California, by way of being in the Coast Guard. And he immediately got locked in with Imam Fahim Shuaib in the community out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and that ties back into what Imam Ibn shared regarding his experience with his own young adult, just making sure that those connections are made, even when they go to other places. So, like, even when the child, I hadn't reached this far yet, Imam Ibn, but you gave me something to think about. We're having a 5-3-year-old, when they're thinking about what school they want to go to, as soon as those thoughts come out, okay, let's see what communities are there. And I may be getting off topic to a certain degree, but I think one of the most important things we can do for our youngest wellness, one of the things I'm doing with my 5- and 3-year-olds, and there's still more work to do, is traveling to other communities throughout the country. because they need to see that the community is not just in, Montgomery, Charlotte, Atlanta, DC, what have you, North New Jersey. They need to be able to visit our community in other areas and build connections with other youth in that area.
Yes.
Because I'm 37, but even with being 37, the individuals that I met when I was younger, going to those conferences, we may cross paths somehow on Facebook somehow, but in today's realm of technology, they can meet each other and stay connected forever.
Mm-hmm.
Just meet individuals in college, for those that choose to go to college, and they still friends with them on social media. So we need to bridge that same gap with the young Muslims throughout the country, and it starts before they reach young adults. I believe it starts as young as, I know everybody's parents different. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, even, but some start as young as like teenagers, let them get on social media. But I stop there.
Thank you.
This is excellent. When we were thinking about putting this series together, we really were centered on, for those who prepared young people, what was that preparation like? And then for the ones who got prepared, how did they receive that preparation and how did they feel about it? And then I feel like in this show, we're even having an extension of that, and that we are sort of talking about, like, what for someone who's a young person now. So yes, the person who prepared you all, and then you all and your experience, but then now after you, right? Like, what's their experience in community? I feel like we're bringing that into the conversation, and that's really great, because at some point you all are going to be cultivators, right? And you probably cultivators right now. And I don't know if you all feel like that your cultivation is different than how you were cultivated. That would be interesting to know. But it's just good to kind of have this conversation and to be intentional about putting strategies together to keep our young people engaged as much as it's in our control to do, right? There are some things that we can do to facilitate it. So I guess my last question to you all is, do you see you as a cultivator being different than the way you were cultivated?
I would say yes. I think with what we have going on now in our situation throughout the country, I think we have to start engaging we have to see us engaging our young, like, at a very early age, as soon as they start talking, before they're able to talk. We have to see ourselves already preparing the boys and the girls to be able to take on leadership capacities, whatever that may be, right? And we know that leadership is bigger than just being an imam. The imam is really just a representative is the head of the body, but the body can own the body of the head needs the support of the body to get where it's trying to go or where it needs to go. So just with working with my 3-year-old and my 5-year-old, the selfish side of me is like, I hope they stay in Montgomery because we need that help. But they may go to Atlanta, they may go to Charlotte, wherever they go, as long as they're Muslim and they helping, my heart is going to be satisfied.
Yeah.
But preparing them for wherever Allah desires for them to be at an early age now, giving them that basic foundation, right? Making sure that they also understand, not just learning the Arabic letters, that's important too, but understanding character, the importance of having good character, because that's the foundation of this particular way of life. Outside of work with my own children, I have a 21-year-old that I've been engaging. At his age, I probably didn't have as much hands-on experience as he's being able to get right now. So I'm allowing him to help with teaching the youth classes. All right. And he doesn't know this yet. I hope he doesn't see it. So I'm hoping I can transition it to give it to him. So, but I'm preparing him in hopes that, hey, he can prepare somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to start preparing our youth at a very early age. That way we can put them in positions that they're willing to accept of responsibility. And in that process, as I think I heard someone say, we can't expect them to be the way we want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
As long as they're staying within the confines of what Alice Lamb requires, let them have their own unique experience.
Yeah.
Because if we want them to be exactly how we want them to be, then we are putting ourselves at risk of running them away.
Yes.
And then they go somewhere else where they feel like they're being accepted and doing the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we have to start at a very early age, and we have to show mercy. We have to show grace throughout that process, and we have to trust. As I've heard someone share with me, if you have someone within your midst for 18 years and you had a chance to educate them for 18 years, we have to trust what we provided them with. So, so I see the future as being very bright, and having conversations like this within itself just inspires me even more and gives me more hope. Assalamu
alaikum. And yeah, most definitely with making sure that you see their leadership potential early.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the tactic of many civilizations, to monitor the youth, look at the young people, and see who's already showing leadership skills at 7 or 8 years old, and then groom that and grow that into leadership. You know, that's a tactic, a method to use. Observe the young people, see how they interact with each other, and coach them along the way. That's a very beneficial way, and it takes work, because you have to be diligent about it and be paying attention to what's going on, how they're interacting with each other when they come to the masjid, and keeping up with what's going on with the young people. It's very important. So, and I think that with that, we're going to have a good future as far as our young people. I mean, and we can't be afraid to have those conversations with them. Like I said, we have to do dawah to our own children and young people. Make sure they have what they need to have as far as an understanding of the religion, and also have those conversations about. It makes the children shy, but have those conversations. I do that with my children. They don't like it, but say, hey, son, if you're 20 years old right now, you may want to start. You want to start looking at who might be a potential for you to marry. Because this is building a community. This is going to be a part of the community, and you want to start thinking ahead for that, right? And so we want to remind them that this is going to be their life, and wherever they may go, or however they decide to be different, like Imam Mikhail said, they're not going to be like we want them to be, but we want to emphasize those important matters in growing the community and the sustainability. We call it retention for the masjid's sake, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This has been a wonderful conversation. I appreciate the both of you being here with us. I'm going to just check into the comment section, right? So we do have people following us or watching us around the country. Brother Anthony is a faithful viewer. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Anthony. We have Sister Zakia Muhammad, who also gives salams, and Sister Latifa, Newark, New Jersey, in the house. Let's see, who else do we have here? We got some more salams coming through. Sister Aisha K. Mustafa, she says, Assalamu alaikum. I see young people below retirement age. For me is young. Yeah, let's see. Let's bring it. Okay, we have Patterson, New Jersey. We have some more salams coming up in the room. If anyone wants to make a comment, feel free to put it in that comment section. And of course, I'm not going to leave you out, sister. Listen, Imam Ibn Tamir wife says she gonna be in this building supporting her husband. Assalamu alaikum, sis. We love to see it. Wait, she had a comment up there. I just found it. She said, and you gave excellent cookbars at Howard too. Hey, you gotta do that. That's my bison brother. Yeah, so it's been a wonderful conversation, and I hope that this is the doorway to more conversations like this, right? So that we can plan for sustainability of the community. You know, again, this series is Where Are the Young People? And we have some young imams right before our eyes, and they have shared stories with us about the young people in their midst that they're connected to and that they're cultivating. So they're here, right? As Sister Quran said, and what both imams have shared with us is that we also have to be intentional about going out and connecting with them. So I hope that you got some tools to take back with you for how to do that, so that we reach out as well as, you know, make our spaces accommodating for our young people to be to feel comfortable. This has been the power of educating our own. Again, thank you so much for being our guest. Any last words that you want to share with us?
I'll just say assalamu alaikum to everyone. Really, the last time I saw you and your husband was in Philadelphia. I look forward to. I'm looking at the calendar. When's the time to be grateful? I know December 11th.
December 11th through the 14th.
Okay. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Inshallah.
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 Any last words, Ma'am Mikhail?
The last things I would like to share is what comes to mind is without the youth, we have the future. So let us know that we're our youth. There are programs going on throughout the country, such as the Muslim Culture Con.
Oh yes.
To be trying to, you know, if we have youth in our community, young adults in our community, if they can't afford to go for whatever the reason may be, we should be trying to assist them with going to events such as that. So those are the type of things that help us in maintaining that retention, as Imam Ibn shared. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you again for having us.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you for being a part. Again, this has been the power of educating our own, a podcast that is hosted by the Clara Mohammed Schools Network. We are a network of approximately 20 schools, full-time, strong and online schools. And we look forward to seeing you next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we continue this conversation of where are the young people with another set of guests. Until then, assalamu alaikum and have a great week.
Wa
alaikum salam.
Sister Clara Mohammed, a black Muslim woman from Macon, Georgia, was an extraordinary leader and pioneer. Her contributions, especially in the development of Islamic education in America, paved the way for thousands of Muslim families to take ownership of their children's future, starting at a time when homeschooling was illegal in the United States. She eventually established a network of schools that was later named Sister Clara Mohammed Schools in her honor by her late son, Imam Warith Din Muhammad, rahimahullah. Sister Clara Mohammed helped to establish the important role women had in early Muslim American history and was an inspiration to future generations of leaders. Without her, there would not have been a nation of Islam, or the unique Sunni Muslim community that evolved from it, one that was acutely aware of the concerns and aspirations of women. May Allah have mercy on Sister Clara Mohammed.